Today, AK is going to take us to school.
Was I supposed to do something?
Oh, I mean, just make it up on the fly. AK is going to school us on the basics of Daggerheart Beta 1.5. We know that the Big Daddy, the real Poppy, won't be out till next year, although we're getting pretty close to next year already. But people want to play now, and we realized some friends said, how the hell do I play Daggerheart anyway?
All right, well, let's talk about Daggerheart. Let's get into it, you guys. Welcome. Today we're covering the basics. I do want to make a couple of caveats and disclaimers right up here at the gate. I'm going to be talking about the beta version 1.5. If you're not aware of this, the full version will be out in spring of 2025. So if you're watching this after that, chances are I'm wrong. There are also chances that I'm just wrong right now, and my friends here are the ones that are going to help keep me honest. So anywho.
Are we?
We're going to live fact
I'm here to fully believe anything that comes out of your mouth.
I was told there would not be fact checking, so let's dive in. One question that we always ask here at the Pocket Dimension is, who is this game for? Who should think about playing this game? Because there are, of course, different play styles. So in short, if you are here watching this right now, Daggerheart's probably for you. It's especially for those who want a chance at some collaborative storytelling. We here at the Pocket Dimension do find it to be on the rules light side of things. And so we just like that there's a game that has some mechanics and some core rules that actually supports storytelling and focusing on the characters. Ooh, so let's talk about the big guy, your best friend in Daggerheart, which are the Duality dice. So if you've heard before, Daggerheart is a D12 system. That does not mean that you're only going to be playing with D12s, but it does mean that having two D12s, like these right here, is going to be fundamental to your adventure as a player. You need to be able to tell them apart, and you're going to know this one's always going to be my hope, and this one's always going to be my fear. Because every time you roll, whichever one is higher, you're going to say that. So you roll the two dice whenever it's your turn. You add the two together. That's really, really, really important. And if your hope die rolls higher, you rolled with hope. If your fear die rolled higher, you rolled with fear. What that means is that for everything that you do, much like in D&D and other games, there is some kind of difficulty that you're up against. And so if you meet or beat that difficulty and you roll with hope, your action tends to succeed and kind of moves the story along in a favorable direction. You might even get to add some hope on your character sheet. I'll show you how to do that later. But if fear rolls higher, regardless of the outcome, so even if you succeed against the difficulty, things are going to get dicey. They're going to get complicated, and the situation could become dangerous or unstable, just like me.
I love being unstable.
Yeah, it's super fun. So, basic. We're going to dive on in to the wilds of Daggerheart. And so here's what I think, at least, that you need to know first. This is all like life according to Allison, right?
Okay, and let's also be clear. You as a person are not basic. Daggerheart is not basic in the bad way of basic, but there are some basics.
Basic rules, like classes. Yes. So a lot of these are going to look really familiar. If this is your first ever brand new to the whole realm, a class is simply your character's role and play style, what it is that they do within the party. And so I'm not going to spend too much time going through all of these. You can pause, read it on the screen, but I do want to run through the three that are new if you're new to Daggerheart. We have a Guardian. They are your tough, loyal protectors who excel at shielding their allies. They prioritize defensive tactics, and they are known for standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds. Their ability to endure makes them a solid frontline force. We also have Seraphs, which are divine warriors appointed by their gods to carry out sacred missions. They can heal, and they can also strike down foes with righteous fury, and their powers align with the domain of their deity. And then we have the Warrior, which are highly trained masters of combat. They excel in both agility and strength. They're the ultimate fighters. They use strategy and skill to outmaneuver their opponents, and they can focus on powerful strikes or defend with precision, making them indispensable in combat. I will cut in to say, DT and I played with a warrior in the patron one-shot last weekend, and I've been sleeping on warriors, y'all. I was blown away by how much cool stuff that class could do. So
yeah, martials are so much better in Daggerheart than other systems.
And I wonder if that is just, bias from D&D carrying over, because the warrior, I would maybe map towards a fighter, and, fighter can be kind of bland.
Can be kind of boring.
So, maybe that's just our limiting beliefs.
Exactly. And we are here to expand our horizons together, friends. So kind of moving on, you pick your class. The next thing that you're going to do in order to create your characters, you're going to pick what's called a heritage. And heritages are made up of two different things, your ancestry and their community. They shape both who you are as well as where you come from. And so you pick one thing from that first group, and then you pick one thing from that second group. And then that helps you just create exactly the sort of character that you want to play, which then leads me into the next kind of basic tenet of Daggerheart, which are traits. Again, if you've ever played a tabletop role-playing game before, these are going to look mighty familiar to you. But one of the things that we love about Daggerheart is that you get to decide. So like you could have a rogue that's not very agile and doesn't have much finesse, but is bigger on things like presence or instinct or even strength. So it really does allow you to build the character of your dreams. Now, I will say, you also then get to later in character creation do things like pick weapons and equipment. So if you are going to nerf your finesse stat, you might pick a weapon that's based more in magic or strength, for example. So those are some things you've probably seen from other tabletop role-playing games, but then there's something that's brand new to Daggerheart that I just love, which are the domains. The domains are the core themes. They define your character's abilities and spells. So everything in Daggerheart, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that we like to call Daggerheart shiny and magical, and the world it kind of like immerses you in. And domains are something that helps that. So each class in the game is built from two different domains. And you can think of these as just like forming the foundation of how you draw your powers. And so there's literally a deck, which this is all available, of course, digitally, that you get to kind of pick and choose from as you build your character to give them different mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can we shout out Demiplane if you want a very quick, easy way that just takes you step by step? That's a great way to do it.
So now that we've gone over the basics, are you ready to roll some duality dice?
Duh. Tell us more.
Let's go.
Tell me more.
But wait.
There's more. So in this section, we're going to move into how to actually play the game, followed by more of those core mechanics, and we're going to go over your character sheet. So you'll at least be mildly aware of this at your first session. Again, shout out to Demiplane. This is a look at one of the pre-gen character sheets. I just wanted to make it real easy. And we're just gonna kind of go through here and look at all of these different things so you'll have a basic understanding of what they are. So first and foremost, you see something called an evasion score. So your GM might try and beat you up. It happens, I know. Evasion is your ability to dodge, or as we like to not do here in this dimension, parry, otherwise avoid attacks and harmful effects. So this is basically, think of this as your own personal difficulty score. The first thing that's going to happen when you get into combat, the GM is going to roll and say, does a blank hit your evasion? And that's where you're looking on the character sheet to see if it is above that threshold. So what happens if the GM hits you? Oh no. Well, we have armor in Daggerheart. And I put here that armor is like your personal damage sponge, and so you have an armor score that's going to come into play in a second to help you reduce some of that damage. So your armor score goes hand in hand with your armor slots, which is how much metal or mushroom it is that you're wearing, so that way you can effectively reduce damage. So let's kind of take you through a real life scenario in here as we continue to move through the character sheet and understand how a combat might go. The GM rolls, they hit above your evasion score. The next thing that they're going to do, just like we do in other tabletop role-playing games, is they're going to roll damage, and we've got some thresholds. So anything below your major damage threshold, which is that first number you see, is considered minor. You would be marking 1 hit point. Anything from your major, so 9 to 17 here, is major damage. And so you would be marking 2 hit points there. And anything above that severe threshold, you'd be marking 3 hit points. But you can use armor and your armor score to effectively block that. So let's say that my GM rolls and they roll a 12 against my evasion. My evasion's a 7, so they're going to hit me. Then they roll damage. And let's say that they roll a 13 on damage. My armor score is 5, so we are going to do a little bit of math here. So if I say I want to spend 1 armor slot, that would bring that damage total down by 5. So 13 minus 5 is 8. That's now below my major damage threshold, so I would mark 1 armor slot. You can use multiple armor slots. So if I wanted to spend 2 more to get that all the way down below 0, I could and take no damage. So there's just a little bit of, kind of give and take as you decide, do I want to damage my armor? Or do I want to damage myself? And just watching all of these things and the dance of Daggerheart is that, there are certain abilities, certain classes, certain experiences, etc., domain cards that might, you don't have to spend an armor slot, or you can use stress in its place and things like that. And all of that will be spelled out on your character sheet. So then once you have determined how much damage you're going to take, you're going to mark that on your hit points, which is the amount of life keeping you from ghosting quite literally. Of course, Daggerheart isn't just about physical fortitude, it is about mental as well. So we have something called stress. So you can use stress to fuel some abilities. You might get hit and get stressed. If you max out your stress slots, you become vulnerable, which makes you easier to hit. And we don't want that, do we?
I am triggered by that.
I want it.
You want it. I want the stress.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Flipping over
real
to the
life.
other side.
I want a real life. I want a slice of life simulator.
I love
Stress
it.
mechanics now.
Yeah.
Hope. We've got our duality dice. You're rolling with hope and fear. So when you make a roll and you roll with hope, you get to increase those slots up to 6. And hope is the thing that fuels you in order to be able to do your positive and heroic actions. So you'll see as you look around your character sheet that there are things you can do where it'll say spend 1 hope. You can also spend your hope to do things like help allies, push through dangerous situations. I already said activate abilities, and also do what's really fun in Daggerheart called tag team, where you and a buddy decide that you want to collaborate on a really sick move to do lots and lots of damage. Hope is the thing that fuels a lot of these moves. So just maybe don't lose hope, okay, you guys? It's that simple.
Fuels your cool ass shit.
Fuels
and your soul.
cool.
This is getting further and further away from real life.
Yes.
I know. We've just spent a lot of hope die. That's all.
Yeah.
We can refill that bar.
We can replenish that bucket. And then finally, kind of up here for the top of what we're going to go through right now, something really unique to Daggerheart that we all love are what are called experiences. So these represent specific things your character is good at or has learned through adventure. You get to make them up. I tend to use song lyrics or song titles as my experience titles, and they improve over time. And so that's something that you can add to your rolls to kind of further fuel them and increase the chances that you have of success. So I had to put a little note on myself because I tend to get too excited and fly through these things, and I wanted to talk you guys through a real combat. So, I already talked about what happens when your GM attacks you and you get hit, and using armor and armor slots to determine how many hit points you're going down and things like that. What about when you want to attack? So let's say, taking this situation here, we've got our guardian who has a battle axe, and you can see that that is going to get a +2. But let's say that I want to attack. So I would roll my 2 duality dice. I would add them together, saying rolling with hope or fear. I would add +2. I could spend a hope, and I could use my I've got your back experience if I'm I'm smashing something that just hit one of my friends, for example, would be a good time to use an experience like that. I can add an additional +2. So now I'm rolling my 2 duality die. I'm adding 2 for the strength, 2 for the experience. I'm adding +4. And then I'm telling my GM what that total number is. If I hit, then I get to roll my damage dice right here and do 1d10 +3 physical damage. See, I told you it wasn't all about d12s, right?
I did see Open World Addict said that experiences is the most confusing thing in Daggerheart, in my honest opinion. And you know what? I think when originally we first read the rules, we felt that way too. But in the same vein of Daggerheart is fun, promise. I think experiences are super fun, promise. If you just lean in, and the whole thing with experiences is just try them. Just try them. Let your DM say no.
Yeah. And that's
the most
exactly
rule lies. It's the most rule light part of the game. Just go around and find out.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually going to say, I reckon that once people actually get into the actual playing, it's easier. Weirdly, it kind of seems almost counterintuitive because you think when they give you more that things get easier. But for me, one of the hardest things for me is thinking up personalized experiences when you're starting a character above level 1.
Yeah.
Because I think the theory behind them, and this is just speculation, I haven't spoken to Spencer or Matt on this, I don't know them personally, but my thinking is that the thinking behind experiences is that you get your starting 2 at level 1, and if you're stuck on what to do, you've got the examples and the character builder that you can draw from. And then as you play the game and level up, you add experiences based on the experiences your character has had, which makes them very easy because they're experiences you had. It's not something you're sitting there going, oh, what could I make this? What could I name it? It's something you've done. And so that's going to be easier. But if I do agree, if you're coming in to play like a one-shot at level 8 and you've already got 4 of them, it might be hard to think, oh, how am I going to fill this out?
Yeah. So yes, good little detour. One other thing I do want to call attention to, I don't know if you can quite see it, but over here next to hit points and stress, there's a little thing that says calculate damage. So you don't have to math if you don't want to. So if your GM says like, okay, that's going to be like 21 points of damage, and you don't feel like mathing with those armor slots, you can just hit that button there and you can say like, what if I use 2 armor slots? What does that look like? And then the other thing that I just kind of quickly want to talk through, action rolls, damage rolls, and reaction rolls. Action rolls is what I was just talking about, where you're going to add the things up here. So if your GM says make a finesse roll and you want to add an experience, etc., so on and so forth, and those can generate hope and fear. Damage rolls are, it's going to say either on your domain card or with your weapon how much damage it does, and you'll roll that. And then there are reaction rolls, which are those quick, like in the moment things that are happening. And just one really quick thing to note about reaction rolls is they do not generate hope or fear. And you can add experiences, but you're not going to either take hope or give the GM fear on a reaction roll. That tripped me up for a while, so I wanted to call that out.
Same.
And that is the character sheet. So let's kind of jump further into the meat and potatoes. The other things that you guys might need to know about playing Daggerheart. We're all in this together.
Wow.
There is no initiative. I'm sorry. Is my millennial theater major girl showing?
She really is.
So initiative is gone. Instead, for now, in 1.5 beta, not probably in the final, Daggerheart has something called an action tracker. The whole party moves in a shared pool of chaos, which can make it go from bad to hold my beer real quick. And so for every action that you and your fellow party members take, there is an equal and opposite balance on the GM's side, balancing out the force, as it were. And while you get to use your hope to fuel your cool stuff, the GM can use the fear you give them to fuel their cool stuff. So there's all kinds of fun little checks and balances. And even though I could sit here and watch High School Musical for the rest of our time together, I will flip now to the next slide. Let's talk about another mechanic. Advantage versus disadvantage. Things are about to get dicey. Literally all advantage and disadvantage is in Daggerheart is you roll your duality dice, adding your relevant experiences and modifiers, and you roll an extra d6. If you're rolling at advantage, you add whatever comes up on that d6. If you are at disadvantage, you subtract. It's that easy, friends. I love how easy they made this game. Some of the other mechanics y'all might want to know about is downtime. So gone are the days of like just going to sleep and magically waking up with everything healed, everything fixed, everything reset, right? No. Here, you have to make choices. So on a short rest, you can swap out your domain cards. And then you choose 2 from tending to wounds, clearing stress, repairing armor, or preparing with your party. And on a long rest, instead of rolling a dice to clear stress, repair, or heal, you just heal full up. But if you had like a really rough battle and you only have 1 night's sleep, you might not get to heal all the way, or you might not get all of your armor repaired, which is fun because I think it adds some really nice stakes to the game that I feel like we're missing in some other systems, not naming names. Andy. Now let's talk about death. It's everyone's favorite, but it's especially Evan's favorite. And again, I'm bringing those stakes back in here, all right?
Bless your heart.
With death, when you have marked off all of your hit points, you are at death's door in Daggerheart, and you have 3 choices. And I actually got to see this play out in game along with DT a couple of weeks ago.
Oh boy.
You can choose to go out in one final blaze of glory, and what this means is that whatever you're going to do as your last move is going to succeed, but also you are going to die. Your choice, though. You can choose to avoid death, so you roll hope, and if you're successful, you take a scar and you fall unconscious, and hopefully one of your party members at least like pushes your body off the battlefield. Or you can choose to risk it all and truly let the dice tell the story. So if hope wins, you recover, and if fear wins, you die. How are them apples for some stakes, Evan? Does that feel better for you than other systems?
I love this.
Me too.
I love it. I need to play more Daggerheart so I can die more.
Can I just say real quick as we're moving on, these death mechanics are the best ones yet. We've played with a bunch of games, we've seen a bunch of death mechanics, and everybody tries to make it like, oh, we fixed it, this is perfect. No, Darrington fixed it. It's perfect.
Daggerheart.
Moving on.
Fix it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
it.
That's the whole
Perfection.
tweet.
We'll take no questions.
Yeah.
I will take no further questions. Those are the perfect death mechanics.
Not a single one. Well, and that's the end of my presentation. So go forth, roll the dice, embrace the chaos, and if all else fails, blame the GM unless I'm your GM.
That's
In
right.
which case, it's your fault, not aka it's you, the player's fault. I love this game, man.
And so I'm seeing some questions coming here. So Dan says, I want to play. Where do I sign up? So in the Pocket Dimension, we do monthly one-shots with our patrons.
Yep.
If I'm running it, usually it's Daggerheart. If you guys keep, signing up, I'm going to keep adding more sessions. I also do want, though, to give a shout out to Bladebound Saga that you can see here in the channel has an equally amazing Discord community. You can find him on startplaying.games. So if you have wandered your way into the Pocket Dimension and you have thought, gee golly, that Daggerheart game sure looks swell, we are here to empower you with ways to play if that is your ultimate goal. I've seen some kind of one-off games spin up in our Discord. So keep on following the links into our super cool Discord server. We'll keep posting about it in the channels. We'll keep adding more games as we need to and bragging about our friends who are also doing really amazing things in the Daggerheart space. That is my goal, is to get your butts in games.
There's so many amazing GMs hanging out with us. Kai,
Oh my God,
Solace, Seth, of all trades.
Tabletop Phoenix.
You were amongst some really great GMs and players. So just don't be shy. Don't be bashful. Get in there and say, hey,
gotta play with you guys.
I'll see you next week.
Heart you.
See you next week.
Do the thing.
Goodbye.